PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the positive.
We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, I'm one. Hi, my name is Peter. Yeah, I want.
Here's good.
Yeah.
Adam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on.
He likes it.
It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right. Come one, come all. Showtime. Welcome. Wednesdays. New day, new time. Good to be back in the saddle. Ready to rock and roll. Peter G Show, now on Wednesdays. Right here, right now for you. In the flesh. I'm a little bit tripped out with the whole thing. It's definitely different now. I had to get used to it. I didn't know what to do on Sundays anymore. I was getting all these Sundays this past month, and it was like, now what do you want to do? Hope everybody's doing all right. Really windy out here in Southern California right now. Messed my hair up getting to the show. All right, here, let me help you. Messed my hair up getting to the show. Anyway, lots of stuff this year. Got some new stuff going on, and I am ready. Got a new addition to the show after, I want to say years of negotiation or procrastination, whichever one you want to say. But it took some time to kind of get this together. Plus, he had to get out of rehab. But I think right now, I've always, I like having somebody around to kick stuff around with, and I've been, with this going on, I just, I finally got it going. Now we're going to see how it goes. Hopefully, this is going to be a weekly thing. If nothing interferes, like probation or anything like that, But for the first time, I'm going to have somebody on with me, weekly. Just, as I've always said, my Ed McMahon kind of. But I always like somebody put in their 3 cents. And if anybody that I would want to have doing this, it's this guy. So let me bring him on with no further ado. And again, try to keep the excitement down. I know everybody's been chomping at the bit to do this, but hopefully for 2022, coming on and joining me, giving his opinion, my friend and your friend too, Mr. Sir Pepsi of Hollinsworth.
It's the Peter G Show.
Listen to you all.
It's the Peter G Show.
Yes, say it the way it's supposed to be said.
Look at you, man. Look at you.
Yes.
Look at how, man. Look at this.
It's a new budget year.
Look at you. It's
a
a
new
pleasure.
budget.
It's a pleasure.
Look at you. This is
No, don't look at me. No.
Look at this.
Stop.
Look at this.
Stop.
Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, from
I freeze
the hippie canyons of Topanga, I give you
Psycho Doozy.
I know. All right, listen, it's going to be okay. Just I want you. I'm glad you're going to join me from now on, opening and closing and hanging out. Okay.
I love you guys.
Yeah, I love it. Look, everybody's going to kind of catch on, and they're going to, they've been asking for Pepsi. We want more Pepsi.
Anyway.
So what could I say?
Anyway,
Give
moving forward.
Give the people what they want.
It's the Peter G Show.
Yeah, listen, hey, by the way, I've been getting a lot of people asking, they go, Peter, we know that in your job you have to do a lot of talking, which I do. And they go, how do you keep your voice in such good shape? And I said, funny you should ask. It's my new Nature's Way Sambuca throat lozenges. So just so you know, with zinc.
With zinc.
Yeah.
There you have it. With zinc.
Honey lemon. This is all natural. This is all natural stuff.
All natural.
So this is what keeps me in prime vocal ability.
Because you're so prime.
No.
You're so prime. You're so prime time.
And I got to tell you, you are definitely subprime.
No doubt about that, sir.
No doubt about it. So listen, before we get started, I just want to go over a couple things because we've been off the month of January. Now, people don't know that you've always been kind of behind the scenes around a lot, or they do know. But now you're going to be in the scene. He done been in the scene.
Well, it's kind of a metamorphosis type of thing,
Yeah, you look a little different. We're going to determine whether I like you, whether I like you or not.
I think I like it. Yeah, the other one was better. Right?
Yeah, the other one. Well, I don't know. This remains to be seen. We'll find out. Like I
Folks,
said,
I haven't broken the computer screen yet, man. I'm so ugly.
You asked for it. You got it.
Take it back. Take it back.
You got it. You got it.
Take it back. Take me out.
All right. So check this out. Today's Groundhog's Day. I don't know if you it's Groundhog's Day.
See a shadow or
no? But it's here we go. We're going to be
shadow, not see a shadow.
Here we. Oh no, he saw the shadow. He says 6 more weeks to winter now. You might not notice.
Man, fork that.
Yeah. Well.
No summer.
It happened. No. Listen, you really can't complain because you're kind of in the sunshine. Living in the desert.
Desert, man. Yeah, desert being key.
We'll talk about that later. But it is Groundhog's Day.
It is.
And I don't know if you're aware of this. Also, I think this is important right now. So this is. I don't know if you realize that they were just celebrating the Asian community and stuff like that. We're celebrating Year of the Tiger.
What happened?
Well, I mean, listen. I was born Year of the Tiger. So, yeah, so this is a good year for me.
Nice.
This is a good year for me.
Yes.
Now, I looked up your sign.
The tiger.
I know, but I looked up your sign.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Don't mention it. Don't mention it. Okay.
Thanks. I'm good.
So I looked up your sign, and yours is Year of the Beer Bottle. There we go.
Or beer can, whichever it might be.
Yeah, exactly.
What about a glass of tequila, man?
Well, listen, this is what it just said. It said Year of the Beer Bottle, and/or you're right on the cusp of the hemp flower too. I'm just saying. This is what I read. Yeah. This is it's just more good to know. Good to know.
FYI.
Hey, listen, I'm sure you're aware, and I'm going to tell all my peeps tonight. Tonight I have Shahryar Sadree. He's going to be on, author, right?
Very nice.
Now,
very nice.
This is why I want you to pay particular attention, Pepsi. Let me bring you in here. Whoa. Yeah. I want you to pay particular attention because this guy's got a book. It's all about common sense.
Which I need a lesson on that. So
yeah, you're gonna need. Yeah. So common sense, using the human mind, the pros and cons. Especially you using your mind. Listen, because the problem I think with you is like the mind is a terrible thing to waste, and unfortunately you don't mind getting terribly wasted. So.
Anyway. That's for you to know and me to find out.
Right.
Or I think it's the other way around. But anyway.
Anybody who pays attention to the show that knew that you were the one in the background pretty much knows. But anyway, he's going to be on in a few minutes.
Namaste.
Also want to tell you real quick. Let me get over here. Next week, February. Oops, that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah. right.
No.
Next week, listen, next week, I want you to write this down, Pepsi, all right? Because next week, finally, I'm going to have author Laura Taranza. She's was supposed to be on before the end of the year, and some things came up. We had a little bit of a mess up, and she's finally going to be on. But she's an author, 2 books, Narcissism, Narcissistic Relationships, How to Get Out. She's got 1 book. It's called Girl, Get Out.
Girl, get out.
I'm telling you. No, it's not like that. It's how to get out with your kids, your peace of mind. Again, narcissism is a pretty horrible thing, and it goes for both men and women. I'll tell you that much right now.
Right.
It can be either men or women can be a narcissist. And she's got another book that the recent one is called Ugly Love, and we're not talking about you, Pet. We're talking about.
Although I have been there.
Well, yeah. So
It's true. It's true. No, good stuff. Good stuff by the author.
It's gonna be a great show. So that's next week.
Yes.
February 9th. We're gonna have her on live and in the flesh, and you're gonna be able to witness this. And so start getting your questions ready, Pepsi.
I don't think they'll help, but
yeah, if you remember what.
What? Anyway, onward.
Listen.
Yes.
Listen. Right now, I think it's enough of this yapping. I think it's time. I want to bring on our guest, and it's going to be a good show because I went through his book and lots of questions. But so just sit tight and take this all in. You might want to take notes, Pepsi. Okay.
Got my pen and piece of paper. Right.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Got my tequila anyway.
Yeah, I know you do. So okay, I know you are, but what am I? All right,
man,
listen.
Peter G. Man, Peter G. Show.
That's it, Peter G. Show. Okay. You're in studio BIC.
Yes.
BIC.
Me.
All right, listen. All right. So don't go nowhere, Pepsi. I want you to pay attention. If you got something, please feel free to chime in. But right now, sorry, are you ready for me? Shake your head. There you go. That's a yes if I've ever seen it. So here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to bring on my special guest tonight and author of the book Down in a Hole by Shahryar Sadree. We're going to explain to you what this book is all about and why it's a good read. And I like I said, I went through it. I like it. So here we are. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Shahryar Sadree. How are you, Shahryar?
I'm doing great. How are you, Peter?
I'm good. I want to thank you for taking the time to be on the show tonight. I don't know how we met or came together, but we did. And I feel like a lot of things, nothing happens by accident. Everything's for a reason. At least
Absolutely.
I've kind of been like that since I've gotten a little bit older in age, before I didn't really think about anything. So, but we did get together and, we started talking way back and we're busy. And then finally here we are.
Right.
And I'm glad you're giving me the time. You are over on the East Coast, correct?
Correct. I'm in Florida, Dade City, actually. I'm in my broker's office, and I'd like to thank Scott Boyce for letting us use his office and the internet here, because it's a much better here than where I'm at. I'm in the sticks.
Okay, you're in the sticks. That's okay. You're in the land of the free.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So listen. So you have you put out a book. When did you bring? Whoops. Whoa. That's good, Peter. I knew I shouldn't have put that hand lotion on.
Alcohol works really well afterwards, not before.
Yeah, exactly. They should have said. Make sure it absorbs well. Anyway, okay, let's start this again. So you put out this book. When did you write this book?
Well, the book was about 10 years in the making, Peter. It's that little tiny book has like 14 pages of bibliography. This is actually my 3rd release. I've written probably about 7 books. I think it was probably about the 5th one or something. No, wait a minute. It was I put out a couple of them that I wasn't happy with. My first one went into print. It was called Higher Powered. And that started with this whole common sense concept, because the universal laws are what define common sense. And the reason that common sense doesn't seem common anymore is because we don't practice the universal laws. We cherry pick them, and that's not how they work. So my first book can be found on my website, and you can download the PDF copy for free. It's called Higher Powered.
Wow,
That started the process. And then the second one was Highest Self, which goes more in depth into the spirit versus the ego. And what we don't understand is, we practice religion and politics, and these things take us completely off track. And some people refer to the ego as the devil, Satan, whatever you want to call it. You can choose the words, but it's all semantics at the end of the day. We're talking about the same things, whether you want to believe it, accept it or not. It is what it is. So that's there you have it. This one I think was very powerful, because once you understand the rules of life, then you need to process them, and that's what the mind is for. And a lot of people don't understand the difference between the mind and the brain. The brain is flesh, it's part of the body. Mind, however, is non-physical, and it's like a mega processor. Think of it like this. Think of your brain as your computer and your mind as the operating system. Because without an operating system, this desktop that I'm using is basically just a giant paperweight taking up space on my desk.
Okay, hang on a second. Okay, so Pepsi, are you catching this? Are you listening?
Absolutely.
Okay. Think of your brain like, wait a minute, I just had to run this by because I have to make a point here. So I think what your problem, Pepsi, is your operating computer is not working properly. Okay?
Correct, man. Yeah. Gigo, man. Garbage in, garbage out, man. Maybe the hardware is messed up, man. Who knows? But
it's your processor.
Yeah, human error, man. All of the above.
That's it. Operator error.
I think he's got.
I wanted to bring this. I wanted to share this with you. My friend Scott, he nails it beautifully. He says, so we all are prone to having ID10T malfunctions. Write it down and read it. It makes a lot of sense.
I think Pepsi's got a bad circuit board, and I've always said that.
Hey, it fried out a long time ago, man.
This is what you got to work with.
No fault of Peter G, or no fault of my own either, man. Hey, I'll admit that, man. I did.
There's no refresh. There's the refresh is out. So anyway, okay, let's go back to where we were going. So, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to go through. What I did was, let me get us here. What I did was I took some parts of the book and I went through and I picked out some things. I'm going to talk about them real quick, or tell you the titles of the parts that you write about, and then I'm going to have you do a brief synopsis of each piece, and we're going to go briefly through your book in certain areas because we can't go through the whole book, but just because I thought there's some good points there. So that's what I want to do, if we can do it. That's
Absolutely.
All right. All right, so here's what we'll do. Let me see how I can do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is here, I open up the book, and it was hard. I had to pick and choose what I wanted, but I found that there's a point in your book, towards the beginning of your book, it's called Creating Our Own Problems, because again, you can be your worst enemy in your mind. So tell me real quick, what's creating your own problems all about?
Well, creating your own problems is basically holding on to failed beliefs. Let me put it to you this way. The first time I learned never to do something is when you as a kid, you put your hand on a stove, it burns the crap out of you and you never do it again, right? But we make the same mistakes over and over, whether it's with relationships or whether it's with, business. We make the same mistakes, and somehow ego gets in our way and we don't want to admit we're wrong. And so we hold on to that belief structure, not realizing that that's what's causing our problems. And as long as you hold that belief and continue going down that road, you're going in the wrong direction. If you're looking for a solution, you got to understand the law of polarity. And that means that you're never going to find solution where you found the problem. Solution is the polar opposite. It's like the tails side of the coin. One side is heads, one side is tails. If you're not happy with one side, change your polar position and you'll be heading in the right direction.
Isn't it sometimes easier said than done, though? I mean, how do you...
Of course. I mean, life isn't easy, my friend. It's about exercise.
Oh.
And which goes back to the processor, right? As a musician, I learned this, and you can probably relate, Peter. You're a musician. You learn how to play something by practicing it over and over and over. When you do that, you learn the song. If you learn with bad habits, you're going to have those bad habits as you're playing it. If you want to learn how to do something correctly, you pick it apart, you practice it piece by piece until you got it. And I mean, that's what we do, right?
Yeah, I got you. Okay, I know. I just know it's easier said than done. Let's move to the next part. The why me? It's my party. I don't understand.
Well, when you blame outwards, right? When you point the blame outwards for something that you could fix, you're basically throwing your power out the door with it. And, you label yourself as a victim. Victims are victims. When you look at what you can fix in the problem and you fix those problems, you're going to get a different result. So this goes back to practice, and you got to be able to walk away from your ego for a second. And that, my friend, is probably the most difficult thing to do in life, is to decipher what it is that you really want. What is your end result? Coaches like Tony Robbins talk about that. What's your end game? What is it that you're trying to get as a result? That has to be your focus, because once you realize what that is, then it's a matter of just doing what is necessary to get you to that point.
Okay.
It's a simple idea, but it's not easy to do. It requires a lot of practice. And that means putting your ego aside. That's what takes the most practice. But then after a while, you learn to let other people kick your ego in the nuts. You don't get all upset over it. You kind of laugh at it. I find humor in everything. So
no, I get you. It's just a lot of people just don't, unless you got somebody helping, sometimes you don't realize you're crying when you're crying or things like that. And it takes close friends to go, dude, take care of yourself, or I had that, I had that. I mean, there was just, I remember even starting this show, they go, it took me years to get the show off the ground. I was talking about it. And they go, you're not doing anything, because my ideas were bigger than what I, could start. I talked about that in a recent article that I just was lucky enough to do. And it just, I'm just being honest. I mean, it's because I think it's everybody. And I lead by example, good or bad, that if I didn't have some close people to look at me, because sometimes you look at yourself in the mirror and you still don't see what's going on, because you're blind, you're full of yourself, or something. I don't know. How do you get grounded, Pepsi?
Yeah, too close to it, is right. So
yeah, exactly. Well, all right, next.
Great stuff. Great stuff, sir.
Yeah, I hope you're taking notes, Pepsi.
Believe me, I've been taking notes all my life, and it hadn't helped, man.
Well, I'll put it to you this way, Pepsi. You can find my phone number on my website, and I'll give you some private coaching.
Oh no,
I need it, man. I need all the help I can get.
Hey, allow me to send him to you.
Namaste.
The problem is, you send him to Florida, my friend. He's going to want to live here.
Hey, I live everywhere, man. The world is my home.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Pepsi is one flip flop away from Florida.
We'll send him down. We'll find the other one somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Much love.
Just anytime you see somebody riding behind a bicycle, take a good look.
It looks like Fabio.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's move on here. Okay, here's a good one, because I was unfortunately had to deal with stuff like this in my relationship. Depression. See, it's like, Pepsi, anything you'd like to tell the class?
I love you.
All right. So let's do this one. Depression and anxiety. I know a lot of people have to deal with this kind of stuff.
Good one. That's a defect of the human experience. I mean, that's part of what comes with it. And in the spirit form, when you read my first book and you understand the laws, the second book goes into ego versus spirit. When you understand what we are as human beings, there's three parts of us. A lot of people think it's body, mind, and spirit. See, they always put body first, but it's actually spirit, mind, and body. And when you realize that you're a spirit, you have a whole different set of rules that you can open doors with and do all kinds of magical shit. I mean, we look at people like Chris Angel, you know, and this guy does incredible things. They're called illusionists. Well, life is nothing more than an illusion. You know, there's tons of tricks you can learn, but you have to be in the perspective to be able to unlock these things. Depression and anxiety come from not understanding what we are. We're more powerful than we'll ever know. And this power has been sequestered, because if everybody knew how powerful we were, what powers we have, and could learn how to wield these powers, there would not be a ruling class. We would literally, every problem that we see on the face of the planet would disappear all at once.
Yeah. Okay. Look, but still, you don't think it's a mental illness, depression and anxiety? I mean, there's something that is. Look, let's just say that somebody was married to somebody who suffered from depression and anxiety, and it's uncontrollable, and that switch goes off. And you know, even though through therapy, on and off through the years, and this and that, I mean, it just wasn't something that you could teach to, at least most people, that you could just say, hey, you know, I can get over this. Because a lot of people, especially men, I have found from depression and stuff like that, have committed suicide.
Right.
I wish they could take it back, maybe, because they didn't mean to do it. But when you're in that mode, when you're in that moment, you know, so how do you fix that? You're telling me that's something we can just, you know, learn to not do?
Here's the long and short. And I don't want to talk too much about my private life, but I think you need to know my background.
I do. Okay. Yeah.
I was born in Iran. Okay. My family moved here in 1974. My father's a retired medical doctor. Okay. When we moved here, my father had bipolar disorder, but he couldn't mention that, because if he did, he'd lose his medical license, and that would be that. Yeah. So my family, my mother and myself especially, we dealt with his physical and mental abuse for a lot of years. I could have went either way, you know, but I had a mother that was loving enough that would protect me. And some of the things that he would do to my mother made me want to slit his throat when he was sleeping. And I said that to him. I mentioned that to him one time, and that was the end of it. He never touched my mother again. But he continued with his abuse with me, and I figured as long as, you know, he was not beating on my mother, I was okay with it. And I became an alcoholic very early in my childhood, and in my early, you know, before I was an adult, let's put it that way. And I had to deal with addiction. But I was able to overcome that because my perspective changed when I understood that I'm a spirit. I'm a human spirit walking in this human experience. I'm a spirit. I'm energy, and that, you know, has been proven. Nikola Tesla said we're energy beings walking in a sea of energy. I mean, think about that. The Earth is living. You know, it's a living thing. We live on a living planet. This flying space rock. We're here to figure out what we are and how much power we have, because in the afterlife, it just is. But now in this, think of the world as being a very dark place. But it's good if you understand what you are. You can shine your light.
Hang on. Let's, and we're going to move on. But I know you don't want to touch on it, but I appreciate you touching on it because it's really important stuff. The thing is, you're telling me that you think that your father wanted to be bipolar, wanted to do all that kind of, you know, of course not. Who in the right mind would? But that's my point, right mind. So what do you do?
Well, he had no choice. He had to ride it out until his career was over. And then he, you know, he got help for a couple of months. He was on some kind of medication they put him on. My father's a man of science, so he doesn't believe in religion or any of this spiritual mumbo jumbo. He doesn't believe in that. But if I talk to him about energy, the man understands everything that I'm talking about and agrees with it.
Well, I'm just saying that I just don't think certain things you can just choose to fix. Some things are beyond anybody's control. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having these problems, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor. Just my opinion. We just share stories. You know what I mean? Let's go on to this. Pepsi, I want you to pay really good attention to this, okay? I want Pepsi. Hi. Yeah. I want you to pay, yeah.
Is it on? Is it on?
Yeah. Okay. Addiction and pharmaceuticals.
What do you want to know about it?
No, not you. No, I don't want to know anything from you.
You need some advice?
No. Other than just say no. You know, it's
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, drugs are bad. Okay, just say no. Okay, children. Okay, drugs are
Thank
bad.
you very much. Okay, thank you. But you have this in your book also, addiction to pharmaceuticals. Why?
Well, because these are things that, again, put us in the perspective of the victim mentality. Because to say that you're powerless over addiction, that's one thing. But to say that you have no power to correct it, and unfortunately, that's the first thing I found out when I went into these 12-step programs. They were like, you know, just don't put it in you and you'll be good. And I was like, well, wow, that was simple. Now, like you said, it's a simple concept, but making it not happen, it takes a lot of practice. And that takes discipline, which is also in the book. It takes courage, which is also in the book. These are tools that we can use or choose not to. We can ignore them or we can use them. And so that's what it comes down to.
Addiction is pretty powerful. We know that. I mean, you know, it's destroyed people. It's destroyed people's lives. It's destroyed the people around them, their lives, whether they OD or kill. You know, things happen or go broke. Gambling is an addiction. It can. You know, there's so many types of addictions. It's tough. Some people just don't have that, or some people have addicted personalities. You know, and
I think we're all prone to fall into that. Think about this for a second, Peter. They put sugar in everything. I mean, sugar is probably the most addictive drug on the planet, and we take that for granted. You know, but look at the number of diabetes cases that we're seeing. You know, I mean, we could, like I said, we could sit and be oblivious to everything that's going on around us. So you can dig in a little bit and look inward and see what it is. You know, police and investigators, they have this tool they call a hunch. You know, that's, to me, that translates to intuition. That's inner wisdom. You know, I think Buddha said, if you don't go within, you go without. I think it was a quote from Buddha. But I mean, there's a lot of different quotes and things that we hear that we don't understand, like mind over matter. You know, a lot of people don't understand what that is. Mind is non-physical energy. Matter is physical energy. It's basically energy that's been slowed down to be able to be solid. You can see that with an ice cube. Put it under, take it out of the freezer, put it in a glass and set it on your desk, and eventually it'll turn to water. But if you take it and put it under a flame and heat that and raise the vibrational frequency of water, and it turns to steam. Collect it on a glass and put it back in the ice box, it'll turn back into ice again. I mean, well, the human body is made of what? Mostly water, right? That's scientific fact.
Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, to me, Pepsi, didn't you have diabetes at one point? Didn't you on the borderline of diabetes at one point?
That's what they thought, maybe.
That's what they thought. Look.
But science, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, science is an amazing thing.
Because with Pepsi, I remember him saying, I don't mind and it don't matter. So what do you do when you got that going on?
Then you're a victim. Then life is going to be a box of chocolates for you, my friend.
Oh, well, it is a box of chocolates.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Pepsi.
Someday, anyway, yes. Correct. Yeah. You're correct in all. Yes, your philosophy. Yes.
All right.
I applaud.
Let's talk about philosophy. You have in your book ancient Greek philosophy. Now, I happen to be Greek, and I want to philosophize with you. So tell me about why you have that in your book.
Well, the ancient Greeks looked at philosophy as being therapeutic. You know, and think about it. What does philosophy really mean? It's just a fancy word for mentality. You know, if you change your mentality, you're going to have a different perspective, you know?
Right. I got you. I got to tell you that that this is my father's statement, and I never thought I'd be, when you grow up around your parents and they say you hear the same shit 40 million times as you're growing up or whatever. But now now that I no longer have parents, my father was a little bit of a crankster, and I've taken a few things with me, but I never thought I was saying this. And he used to say, when I got married, I was a Greek god. No, he said, when she met me, I was a Greek god, and now I'm just a goddamn Greek.
See, there's wisdom in that.
Yes, I'm just saying that this, I'm turning into my father now. It's like, yeah. Okay, so Greek philosophy, justifying poor judgment. I think this is an easy one, but there's a lot of people that just, need to hear this. Why is it in your book?
Well, because when you justify something that you clearly know isn't working for you, you're doomed to repeat it over and over. They say history has taught us that we don't learn anything from history. Why do you think it repeats over and over? Because we don't learn from it. It's that comes back with the law of correspondence. That's one of those natural laws that we know nothing about. But when you understand that if you can correspond something that you don't understand with something that's just stupid simple, it's easy to grasp. But again, It goes back to the question of how committed are you to self-improvement? Because if you really want to improve the value and the quality of your life, because we don't have control over how much time we have here. I've had friends around me that are dying before they hit the age of 60. So there's no guarantee that we're going to live to X amount of years. We don't have control over the quantity of life. The only thing we have control of is the quality of it. And we have to be committed to that, because that's what's going to give us the best life possible.
Gotcha. Again, some things are very obvious, but yet some people it could be right there, and it may take several times because change is tough. I just released a little clip that I found on an old show of mine about change, because the struggles I've had going through this show, and I wanted to do something, and I kept putting it off until finally everything blew up in my face, and it was time to make that change. And I made that change, and I'm going, God, I wish I had done that sooner.
Yeah, but it takes what it takes, right?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, we're each one of us are on the same. We're not on the same path. We're not on the same timeline. We walk our own path, and it takes what it takes. And some people have to fall on their face to the last breath, and some people get it early. It's just a matter of how committed are you to enjoying and improving the quality of your life, because that's really what we have control over. And when you grasp that concept, the rest of it kind of falls into place. It did for me,
Yeah. Oh, Pepsi, you have something?
Change is good. Yeah.
Change is good. It's a natural law.
Yes. Are you
the
taking
only
notes?
thing constant is change, right?
Listen to you. Leaning in, getting that deep down thinking. How do you spell bloodshot, Pepsi?
Pardon me?
Bloodshot. How do you spell bloodshot?
Now I'm going to take notes. I'm going to steal that one from you, Pepsi.
I love you, man.
The reason,
good stuff, sir.
No. The reason being is Pepsi's future is so bright. See,
Namaste.
Yeah. It's like, look down the street. It's a bird. It's a plane. No. Okay. Let's keep on going here. This is something I want to talk to you about, because you got this. It's kind of in the middle of your book, and I was kind of because there's a lot of different variances in your book, but you touch on global warming, which is a real, you got so many people that think we're going down in flames, and you got people as myself, I think it's a lot of nonsense, because if you really go look at the facts, that's my opinion. I don't feel that there's that much. They go, well, look at the blizzard we're having right now. It's like we had one in 1974, we had them in 1985. Right. We just but anyway. But you touched on this, and why did you touch on this?
Because people need to understand that politics and science are mutually exclusive. They're not the same. What we're seeing right now is politicized. Politics is basically lies after lies after lies. That's all it is. It's a fancy word for lies. It doesn't offend anybody because people can get involved in politics because you can either take one side or the other. But if you really want to know about global warming, and I wrote about it in the book, do the actual science and see. But you need data, lots of it. And it can't be manipulated data. It's got to be raw data, because that's the only way you're going to have the truth, is if you have the truth, you know?
Yeah, but you got people, again, and I changed, you know, a lot of people look at me, and I got a lot of close friends, I'm sure, now since I started this show, because this show made me get a lot deeper into things, because I have to pay attention now. Before, I was just gliding through life, doing my thing, and it didn't matter. Now it kind of matters. And I'm getting older, and things change. And I know I've got a lot of people, I'm not a betting man, but I'm betting that they're going, wow, have you seen Peter's changed? You know, I mean, what the hell happened to him? Because we're not in the same agreeance on certain subjects anymore. Because you used to be able to trust a news agency, and they'd say, you know, this is what's going on, and you believed them because we're in the United States of America. You know, and you go, well, why would they tell me something that isn't right? And you know, and the news has to have news. Otherwise, they got to talk about puppies and stuff, and that's not interesting. And so I find that a lot of people believe that. Like, why would I be lied to? I just turn on the TV, whatever I hear, it's got to be true, right? You tell me.
Well, I think what you're doing is more journalism than what we've seen in the last 30, 40 years, to be honest with you. You know, what you're doing is you're bringing on people that have different points of view, and you're, you know, trying to get into their philosophy and see if it makes sense or not, you know? And really, it's all about human evolution. It goes back to what I said, you know, some people evolve faster than others. You know,
free thinking, maybe free thinking.
That's just it. I mean, it goes back to the first time I put my hand on the stove and it burned the shit out of me. I'll never do that again. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've touched my legs touched hot motorcycle pipes before.
Exactly, Peter. Have you ever burned yourself on
right?
Right.
So I mean,
you'll never do that. You'll never do that one ever again.
It only takes one time for some people. And some people have to just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until they don't have any skin.
Some people, you just can't, you know, it takes them a little while. I'm not saying who. I'm just saying some people, it just takes a little while.
Hey, now.
Hey,
give the man a break. You know, we learn at our own pace. That's what
Peter,
it is.
you've never burnt your leg on a tailpipe?
I have the scar to show it. I have because, you know, and Shahryar, you told me a story that you stuck a fork in a electrical socket when you were a kid, right?
I used to do some crazy shit.
I know. You were.
Will you ever do that again?
Nope. No.
Yeah.
No, Shahryar, right. Will you ever do that again?
No.
I doubt it.
But ironically, I did the same thing when I was probably 3 years old. I stuck a paper clip in an electrical socket when I was a child, and thank God, back then the voltage was like 60 watts. It wasn't, volts. It wasn't 120. And so I survived that one.
Well, this was in Iran, so you know, the power voltage over there is a lot. So that explains a little bit of. Maybe that might have jarred something in me. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, if you use a paper clip, you should try the fork. It's refreshing.
Well, hey, metal's metal, you know. So anyway, okay. So moving right along. This one's I think a real good one, and I think it's important because I think it's very difficult, and I kind of have it. It comes and goes. Self-discipline.
Oh man, that is a good one. Self-discipline is basically the key element in finding success in any area of your life. You know, I've been wanting to lose weight for a lot of years, and, you know, I tried everything except for diet and exercise. It just doesn't work. You know, I've tried every diet under the sun, but it's funny because when I do diet and I exercise, I actually lose a little bit of weight. But it goes back to self-discipline and the commitment to that. You know, how committed are you to doing that? You know, I've given up a lot of things in my life, and sometimes I want to drink a Coke, you know, sometimes I want to have that hamburger at McDonald's, but I know it's not good for me. And it comes back down to that self-discipline. How committed are you to making the changes that you want to see in your life?
Yeah.
Can I ask a
That's it.
question? Can I ask
Yeah,
a
go
question?
Sure.
One thing that I do have to ask, in defense of lamestream media, is that they have been saying all along that diet and exercise is the key, right? So that's one thing that they did tell the truth about, right? I mean, can we deny that, right?
Is that a question?
Yes, that's a
Yeah,
question.
Look, that's more of a statement. It's a statement.
No, it's a question. So did they really
Okay.
lie to us about that? I mean,
Wow. I think they tell the truth once in a while. What do you think, Shahryar?
I mean, is that medical misinformation? I mean, diet and exercise is the key, is one of the keys.
That's part of the common sense part. We all know that. I mean, I think everybody, even though they want
that's why everybody needs to read the book.
right.
The book.
That's
The book.
right.
Right.
That's
The book.
Yes,
That's right.
correct.
Yeah.
Hey,
but I'm
why did-
pretty stupid, though.
No,
Obviously.
you're not. No, you're not stupid. You know
I'm
what
just
you're
asking
doing.
the question.
Unfortunately,
I'm just
yeah.
asking the question.
Unfortunately, I think you know exactly what you're doing. What's the problem? Why did you name this book Down in a Hole?
Because sometimes I feel like I'm in a hole. I'm on my back and I'm looking up at the sky. And it's when I realize that by doing the same things over and over, I'm just digging myself in deeper and deeper. And really the only way to get out of the hole is by taking steps. The first step is being aware. Second step is being committed. Third step is, putting aside the ego and really just digging into and there's a chapter in there that says, digging in to get out. And that's really where it comes down to, is you have to be prepared to do things that feel uncomfortable. And I was told early on in recovery that, it's a daily thing. You have to make a daily commitment. No matter how much knowledge I have, tomorrow I get up, if I'm still lucky enough to be breathing, I have another choice to make. And if I make the choice to do better the next day than I did the day before, and I do that consistently, that's measurable, okay? I don't have to compare myself with somebody else's level of success. I can track my own, because I'm not here for anybody else. I can't control anybody else's life, and everybody else's life isn't going to affect me. All I can do is influence people by being the example that they're looking for. And we don't have that. We don't have leadership anymore. We don't have journalism anymore.
There's that self-discipline is like, if you want to. A lot of people don't want to. You know what I'm saying?
You get what you got.
Again,
they say life isn't fair, but how fair would it be is if you tried your ass off to get to a better place, and then somebody along next to you that doesn't even lift a finger to help themselves, their family, or society, and they get the same things you want. That's the mentality that's going on right now in this country. They're ripping us apart from the inside because of that, because of philosophy. They've gotten into our head, Peter.
Yes, correct. Brainwashing, yes.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, we're getting to that too, but let's hit this one first, because this is something that I started learning from a friend of mine on one of my interviews, believe it or not, because I found myself going from 0 to 11, going through my divorce in a heartbeat, and just really finding out that I had a button that I never knew I had ever before. And then once that button kind of unleashed, it was forever present. And the thing I want to talk about is patience.
Oh, man.
Easier said than done. But patience in everything from getting hot to waiting for something to happen or making something happen or this or that. Tell me about it.
Patience is one of the things. I don't want to say I regret asking for it, but I think I asked for it too early in life, because what happened is I got it. And you don't get patience like a gift. It's not like something you open on Christmas morning. Patience is something you learn over time. When you ask for it, you find yourself in long lines. You find yourself the last one to enter the airplane, the last one to exit. You find yourself in long lines at the bathrooms, at the concerts, waiting while you're doing the pee-pee dance, and everybody's just taking their sweet time. You get tried by people. They try your patience. And some people I just want to sock in the nose, but that's where I have to hold myself back. And that goes back to self-discipline. It's all about practice, Peter.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, let me tell you something. Look, my goal isn't to go to jail. That's never been anywhere on my wish list. And, you know, and I mean, I've had friends that do it as a hobby, you know, they kid about it. And, you know, if you watch the Trailer Park Boys, those guys are hilarious. You know, that guy, Ricky and Julian, they always end up in jail. But then again, they don't mind going to jail. That's not my gig. I'm not trying to do that. If it was, then yeah, I'd be punching people left and right because the opportunity's there, but you're not going to gain patience from that, you know?
Well, Pepsi, I think you got the best of both worlds, don't you?
No, correct.
Yeah.
He's correct.
You got
he's
patience.
correct.
You
he's
don't
correct,
mind.
and he's correct.
You're correct. Yeah. Okay. All right. Patience. I mean, you know, because I had to really. I mean, I have to. When I try to catch myself, I have to slow down. I mean, I'm one of those guys who doesn't mind waiting to get off the plane, and unless I'm trying to catch a tight flight, and I purposely book loose. I'd rather take longer to get there than have to rush and get impatient. You know, and again, nowadays we're trying to fly private, but that doesn't, you know, it's not that easy. You know, as soon as Pepsi gets his license,
fire my agent.
Exactly. But I'm trying. But the thing is, I don't want to go to jail for stupid stuff. I mean, you know, I'll defend my life, but I'm not going to get into a fight with an idiot for nothing, and I've always been that way. But patience over just things about barking, you know, barking when just the minute something happens and jumping before I should have, you know, I wish I would have just taken a breath for a second to think this out before I jumped to conclusions or spoke, or I don't know. Just sometimes, you know, if you look back after what you just did, you said I could have done that better.
Mindfulness.
That's practice. Again, you know, you learn from your mistakes, and I think
I've had a lot of practice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We all make mistakes, but the thing is, Peter, if we don't acknowledge the mistake for being what it is, we're gonna repeat it over and over. But what we fail to realize is it's mistakes that are the building blocks of character, and that's what builds who we are. And you know, it's like this whole racism thing. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me because I see through people. I don't see skin color. I see another human spirit. I connect with people on that level. Yeah. And if they don't see the same thing that I do, I mean, look, the only color I see is this, the ink on my arms and my body that tell my story. That's the only color that I see.
The blood that you bleed, we're all red, right?
It's the same, man. The body is just a shell. It's like a vehicle. It's like my truck that's parked outside waiting for me to get in it. You know, the spirit is the driver. And when you put yourself in that perspective, Peter, the power that you gain from that perspective is, I can't even put into words. You just have to experience it. And that's why we're here. But a lot of people are afraid to let go of this failed theology, which basically dictates ideology. We wonder why we're where we're at, because we stopped practicing the universal laws. They're simple. A child can understand them. So why isn't that being taught in schools? You know, why aren't they teaching that? They teach this crap that parents are like freaking out over, and then now you got our government is going after parents like they're domestic terrorists. I mean, it's like we're in the Twilight Zone, Peter. You know,
things are going awry. There's no doubt about that. But it leads me into this again, because you got a lot of people that can't do this, and you know, again, this is a lot of times I've said, God, I wish I would have just calmed down a little bit, but I just fire up. So I can't. I'm getting better. It's taking me a long time, but because I just maintaining self-control in an argument.
That's tough. That takes practice.
Big one.
That takes practice. It goes back to understanding ego. You know, we talk about the devil on one shoulder and then the angel on the other, but really what it is just a battle between ego and your spirit. One side is telling you the better result. The other one's just telling you, screw it, man. Just do what you want.
Kind of like
feel good in the moment.
It was Animal House. Remember when that guy got
I remember that.
Your brains out. No, don't do it. Fuck your brains out.
That's exactly what it is. The only problem is the message to that is, here's the irony in that. The only thing you're fucking the brains out is yourself. You know, because when you go overboard, That's it. You can't rewind it. It's like a bullet that leaves the barrel of a gun. Once you pull the trigger, it's out of your control after that, you know?
But this is why you're calling it in your book. It's maintaining self-control in an argument. So it's an argument. The word argument is not a pleasant thing.
No. That's the worst situation to find yourself in, is when your emotions get the better of your logic, because logic and emotion are, again, it's polar opposites. It's one side of the coin versus the other. You could either choose logic or you could choose with emotion. Emotion makes you feel good in the moment, but if it lands you in a jail cell for dumb shit, you know, hey, listen, I don't have a problem. If I go to jail for speaking my mind and standing on my convictions, then I'm doing what's right. I feel good about that. And you want to jail me because of that shit? Have at it. You don't scare me. Right? Gotcha. Because freedom in my life is up here. It's in my mind. It's in the operating system. You can't hack that. When I have firewall there, when I'm very aware of what's going on, and I could pitch out things, and because you could say something to me, and in my mind, if my convictions are that strong, I'm gonna be like, that's bullshit. And it doesn't matter how much you can put a pile of evidence in front of me, and if I don't want to accept it, I won't let it in. That's a double-edged sword, by the way, and that's what's happening in this country.
This is what I'm asking you. So you got, you believe you're right, I believe I'm right, and then this is what's going on in this country. I don't mind being wrong. If I sometimes I wish I'd say, okay, I'm wrong, but the problem is we are so divided right now between all the crap that's going on that my closest friend believes this, and I'm looking at him going, how the hell can you see this? And they're looking at me going, how the hell can you see this? And we're getting nowhere, because it's like, well, prove it. And now I got to have everything in my back pocket ready, and they don't want to look at it anyway. And therefore, they have nothing to back it up with, but yet we're on this divide.
You know, Bob Proctor, he's one of my mentors. I don't know the guy personally, but I definitely follow his wisdom because he's a smart guy. He says, the results are the scorecard of life. You have to look at how satisfied are you with the results. I mean, let's look at the situation with our country. And then, are we happy with that? I mean, is this what we want? We want criminals running our world? Do we want to be in that situation? Because that's where we're at right now. Those are the results. Like it or not, it is what it is. So we can either
don't see that.
Well, it's because ego is meant to blind you. So again, it goes.
There's also, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. There's also a famous saying that sometimes it's not about being right. It's about
being happy.
It's about achieving the desired results. So, but you got to forego your ego, right? So.
Okay.
Is that true? I don't know.
No. It's every once in a while. Look, you make sense a lot most of the time. So long as it's not 9:08 at night.
Hey, I have friends like that,
man. Namaste. Thank you for hearing me out.
So here's the thing, because I got a bunch more of them. We're running out of time. Paradigm shift. I had heard that phrase from a boss that I had many, many years ago. He says, you got to make a paradigm shift all the time. And I'm going, easy, sure, no problem. And he had a phrase also too. You could change the way you look at things, or you can change your underwear if you look at things, or you could either make change or change the way you look. I don't know how that phrase goes. Something with your underwear changing or something. And I just used to look at him and going, you know what? I don't get it. And sure, I'll just snap my fingers and make that paradigm shift. Please explain paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift. Again, this is something I got from Bob Proctor. Very, very made a lot of sense to me. Paradigm is nothing more than just a blueprint to your life. Where do you want to go? It's like, if you want to build a house, or do you want to build a commercial building, or do you want to build a cruise ship? You have to have a set of plans that you can build on. And that's what your paradigm is. So if we're on a paradigm, which means that, okay, criminals get to run amok on the world, and we're just going to be victim to it. We have no say in what goes on. We have no control. And because most people think, oh, well, that'll never happen. Well, in their mind it won't, and they've already decided that it's not going to happen. So why put the effort forward? See, but if you change your paradigm to this is not acceptable, okay, that we're not, criminals are locked away when they get, at least you get robbed by somebody, right? Or somebody shoots a family member or shoots you or whatever. We have laws in this country that protect people, and you know, and victims have rights. But when criminals write policy, then they write the laws to favor themselves. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I don't want to get deep into that politics side of it because I want to try to get away from the politics and focus more on the solution, because again, the problem and solution are two sides of the same coin. If your focus is constantly in problem, we're swimming in the problem, Peter. We're never going to find a solution in that mentality. We have to change our paradigm. With that, we change directions in the way we think. Goes back to why the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, because rich and poor think in different directions. We have to decide for ourselves, what direction do we want to go in, and make a commitment and be committed with conviction and resolve that this is what we want to see in our world. And you're going to attract more people that want to go in that direction. You know, I'm hoping that your viewers will take light of what we're talking about here and maybe decide to put their ego aside for a little bit and really focus on the things in life that would make them happy, because that's why we're here. The world is a dark place because we're creatures of light. When people have near-death experiences, they talk about a light that they walk into. It's consistent with a whole bunch of people. You know, that's what we are. But think about it. If you go outside in the broad daylight, especially here in Florida, you go out there with a flashlight. My boss has one that's just full as anything, but he stands out in the Florida sun. You can't even see the beam. But you go into a dark room and that thing is so bright, it's like daylight. So we have a choice. It's free will. You could burn your light as bright as the sun, or you can turn it off, or you can be anywhere in between. That's the law of polarity, Peter.
It starts with us.
We have to learn these things, and it takes time.
It starts with everybody. I mean, everybody has to make an effort to do something. Sitting back on the couch and just bitching about it.
Yeah, it's not going to do nothing.
You're doing nothing. And by the way, where am I? Just somebody. Exxon Flux Nand. That's a funky name. I'd like to understand that one. Exxon Flux Nand said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's what I was trying to say, but just forgot. You know, I
that's my programmer.
Yeah.
He's my Pepsi. That's Rob.
Oh, really?
Robert Gray.
Oh, boy. Lord knows. Lord knows. Everybody's got a Pepsi in their life right there, ladies and gentlemen. Just take a good look. Yeah. That's right. Take a good look. Okay, look, let's keep on going. This one, I like this one right here because this one is kind of a very current event. Brainwash your mind or someone else will. Explain.
Well, your mind is, like I said, it's a processor. It's an operating system. And just as easily as you can hack a computer, you can hack your own mind just by saying the same thing. Whether it's, look, if I want to learn a song, I pick it to pieces and I make sure that I have every piece in place before I start picking up my speed, because I want to get my accuracy and down first, because agility comes with practice over and over. But you got to know what you're playing before you start just doing it over and over. So if you're not focused on programming your operating system, someone else already has, especially if you spend a lot of time in front of the TV. Peter, let me tell you, I've seen it, and I've seen myself just glued to that TV. I remember during Desert Storm, I was just, you want to talk about depression? That was the worst part of my life, because I was like, man, this is horrible. What's happening? You know, all these people are dying, and for what? And it's like you feel powerless. But that's what you keep feeding yourself.
I know, but at least back then, I felt we were being not as I felt like I could believe what I was watching. At least that's what I felt back then.
You ever hear of? Have you ever heard of Duck and Cover?
Yes, that's on your book
It was
too.
it was a civil defense film telling people to get under tables and desks to avoid, duck and cover to avoid nuclear fallout. I mean, come on, this we've been psychologically manipulated for a very long time. We're just now starting to see the effects of it, and it's becoming more and more obvious. That's it. It hasn't changed, Peter.
I get it. I just again, I feel that years ago, never in my life would I believe that in this country we would be told. I mean, I know there's all kinds of stuff going on in the background. I do, but in general, we're not in Iran, and we'd be told more so of the reality of what's going on in the world than being told what they feel we should be told. And you kind of get my drift. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Because again, and I got a friend of mine, he's a singer who does a lot of like rap type singing, and he's Iranian or Persian, however you want to put it. And he does a lot of music here that goes over there, but he won't live over there. He had to leave his country. It just won't work. They'll string him up by his toes, and he's not bad, but it's just not acceptable to the authority, and but I want to keep on moving because we're really running out of time, and I got like 5 or 6 more things I want to do, and I'm hoping we can do them. Dangerous ideology.
Oh, hatred.
True.
Hatred. That's a cancer on society. It's a cancer on the human spirit. It's what we're subjected to, because hatred is what divides people. That comes from fear. See, that's the polar opposite of love. Again, we're talking about the law of polarity. These are things that we don't pay much attention to. It's you can either hate or, there's a song by a band called Shinedown. It's called How Did You Love? You heard that song?
No.
You should play it. The lyrics on that are very, very moving. But that's what it talks about. It says you can be an angel of mercy or give in to hate, and really that's your choice. But the ideologies that we're creating is based on a theology of separation. There's nothing spiritual about separation. That by definition is ego. And so what we think is religion is spiritual, it's not. That's why so many people are running for the hills when you mention religion. Because they know what it's led to nothing but thousands of years of suffering. And see, they put it right in front of you. You ever watch Star Wars? Where Yoda's talking about the law of, what is it? He talks about fear and the dark side. And that leads to anger. They put these things right in front of you, Peter. And we're looking at it like, oh, it's just in a movie. It must be fiction. But you miss the message, right?
I think a lot of movies are true to life eventually. I don't understand how that works. But a lot of movies are true to life, and that's what scares me, because I see this a lot of movies that are the New World Order and all these kind of things, and that scares the shit out of me. But that's just me. Let's keep moving. I found this kind of. I get it, but I want to know. You put in here America's founding fathers. Why was that so important? Because to me, like, I understand that they're going, 275 years ago or something, whatever it is. Maybe they just didn't have a complete grasp on everything, but yet how could they be so smart over 200 years ago?
It wasn't about being smart, Peter. It was about expressing and displaying incredible courage, because the people that put their name on that document put their lives on the line because they were considered treason. And again, we were dealing with, or rather they were dealing with, a criminal organization that was on the other side. It was it was through a monarchy that had put colonies over here, and the people that came here left the old world for a new world because they wanted a different lifestyle. So the forefathers figured, okay, well, if we create a system that the people can run, then there shouldn't be any manipulation. But sad enough, through one exchange after the next, step by step. See, they take baby steps. The Federal Reserve Act went into power and it went into law in the early 1900s. After that, our freedom was over.
I get it, but the thing is, they wrote a lot of things that still are, we're holding to this day. And so you couldn't have been a dumbass writing this stuff up, because it's very intricate. And the thing is, now we got all this stuff going on in Portland, and they've taken over the cities. And I see these arguments where somebody's going in there trying to regain their community, and you got all this. You're in the gayborhood right now. It's like they want to have a gay community right there, which is I got no problem with anybody being anybody. I just don't understand the segregation now. It's like all of a sudden, the he, her, he, him. It's like you're never going to see me having to define who the hell I am. I am who I am, and if you can't figure it out, it's like shame on you. And if I am what I am, it's like you either love me or you don't. I mean, it's no big deal.
Well, I watched a video earlier today about, and I think it was Morgan Freeman that was talking to Mike Wallace, and Mike was asking him, well, how do we avoid racism? And he goes, stop talking about it. He goes, don't refer I'm not going to refer to you as a white person. And then Wallace chimes in and he goes, well, I'm actually a Jew. And he goes, I don't care. I don't see you that way. He goes, I'm going to ask you not to call me a black man, and I won't call you a white one. And that's how you stop racism. These are simple ideas that we have to put into practice. And
I think the world, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think the world just needs to have more South Park. Basically.
Well, I love those guys because they make it so freaking obvious, right? It's gone.
Screw you guys. Fuck you. I'm getting home. Yeah.
That's right. Right. Love Eric Cartman.
Yeah, exactly.
Screw you.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, I think he calls me Jew, and it's like, okay, Jew, Greek, whatever, Italian, whatever. We used to call each other names, but it was not names in bad. It was just,
words.
Now you can't. Nobody can take a joke anymore. It sucks that poor comedians, trying to live this stuff. I got the next one for you. Erasing history.
Oh, bad idea.
Bad idea, but it's happening.
Well, of course it's happening because we're being manipulated. You ever see I have a little book. It's about this big, and it's about wafer thin. And that book has the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence in that little tiny book. I usually keep it in my pocket. I usually keep it there every day. Really? But, it's erasing history is how you repeat it. They don't want you to see what happened because they're repeating it now. A lot of people don't realize what's happening, but we're repeating history and the worst parts of it. But like I said, I don't want to get into that part of it. Buy the book. It's only $10, and all of that stuff is in there. There's a lot of controversial shit in there that I just don't want to go into in this interview.
Well, when you thought it was over, I'm going to ask you another question that's in your book.
Oh boy.
It's in your book, so I'm going to ask you.
Hit me. Go ahead. I ain't scared.
No, this is the here and now, as far as I'm concerned, for Pepsi. Pepsi just sitting there. The world, I'm going to do a show called The Life of Pepsi.
It'll go viral.
It's a short show, but why is he quiet?
It's sort of like on my life. No, you're not.
Okay, let me get back to where I was going. Let me get focused. This is very here and now. Censorship in a free nation. I feel like everybody, if they don't like what you're saying, it's happening every day, including me. I'm on YouTube tonight because we are staying away from a lot of topics that I've gotten into that they have just shut me down because they don't like what I'm saying and nobody's willing to debate me. But censorship in the free nation. We are in a free nation, but obviously we are not in a free nation. What's up?
Well, we're really not in a free nation. We think we are, and that's the problem. We tell ourselves we are, and that creates the problem. That goes back to, programming, because we're saying, oh, this is free, so we're accepting this as being free. If you really knew what freedom was, you'd read the Constitution and you'd see it doesn't take 4 years to vote somebody out that isn't doing their job. These public servants are getting rich on the blood of American people and the rest of the world, okay? And they're bragging about it, and it's going sight unseen. You want to know how this happens? We're letting them brainwash us because we're telling ourselves we live in a free nation. We don't. We are experiencing human enslavement, okay, to on a level that we can't even fathom. And we're calling this freedom. And when you do that, what defines freedom, Peter?
Oh no, now they've gotten to the point where they just flat out are putting it in your face and nobody cares. Well, nobody cares.
That's ego. That's ego because they think that we're too stupid to figure this out. They know that it's difficult for people to change. Yeah, exactly. They know that it's difficult for people to change, and they're hedging their bets that we're just going to sit and let them pummel us into totalitarianism. See, the difference between someone like me and maybe even you, because I come from this part of the world where totalitarianism has been in effect for over 50 years. I left my country. I've got cousins in parts of the world that I haven't seen since they were kids. You know, my cousin, he's like my brother. My brother lives in California. I'm not going to get on a plane if I have to do something that's against my will. That's not freedom for me. If I have to practice freedom and stand my ground and say, you know what, fuck you, I'm not doing that. Then that's what it comes down to.
Let's talk about freedom. Freedom in your book. Freedom is not free. I've always said that. A lot of people, they know it, but they don't feel it or really truly understand why we're able to do what we're do. Even the ones that disagree, that are oblivious, are living free because of why?
Well, they're not free, Peter. That's their version of freedom, okay? Freedom for somebody like, these military friends of mine, like my broker, he was a former MP for the U.S. Army, and and all his friends and stuff. I have more respect for these people than anything, and especially like the police officers that are going against just ridiculous, just hatred towards these people. And these people put their lives on the line for us to keep our country safe. But in their mind, what they're doing is they're giving up their livelihood and putting their lives on the line to give us a level of freedom that, is what the American dream was about. But the truth of the matter is, until we define what freedom really is, and in my book, there's a whole section that talks about freedom, and that involves courage, okay? Valor. It requires resolve. It requires perseverance. It requires, these are all things that these are tools that we need to learn how to utilize, because if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. And that's what's happening. That's what we're seeing. It goes back to Proctor's, synopsis. Look at the results. They don't lie.
I get it. Again, slow learning process for some.
Yeah.
This is the last one, and again, I got to, because I want to give you your shot, because you said you wanted to read something before you leave, and we got to go. But I feel this is so powerful for me. It's very important for me because I never used to believe in it as much as I do now. The love of power and the power of love.
I think it was Gandhi. Book. Yeah, I think Gandhi mentioned that. There was a quote directly from him that said that when the love of power is overruled by the power of love, the world will know peace. There's a lot of wisdom in that statement. But if you stop and you break it down and you think about it, the only thing that I want to have control over is the quality of my own life. I want that. That's freedom on a level that we've never experienced, not in my lifetime.
But I kind of want to have everybody be happy. I mean, happiness is a it's a great thing. I want people to be happy. I don't want I want to be happy, but I also want everybody else. I don't only, it's like, that's a hard thing. And you got so many people that are, again, we're so divided now. It's horrible what's going on. But again, it's all about the love, the divide and conquer, that whole damn thing. We're getting so separated more than I've ever seen. I don't really believe there's racial tensions and this and that. I think it's just a created bullshit thing that people that love, and people that don't. And I think the people that don't, it's a much smaller ratio than the people that understand what's really going on. Unfortunately, it's getting highly publicized.
Well, here's my understanding of that. And this goes back to Martin Luther King. Dr. King had said something that makes a lot of sense. He said, if we don't come together as brothers, we're going to die together as fools, and again, it comes down to the power of choice. We can accept hatred and go that direction, or we can go the opposite direction. But it's all about free will. And when I was talking earlier about this whole thing is an illusion, is that, and this is the secret, a lot of people don't understand, because they go, well, what am I going to do? I'm just one person, right? I can't change the world. But the secret is this is the key, is that everything happens on an individual level. When we decide what we want to change, like Michael Jackson said, man in the mirror, you got to make the changes that you want to see in the world and yourself. Because if you hold an ounce of hatred, you're not harnessing the power of love. You're harnessing the power of mind control over others. And that's not love. That's fear. And that's the root of what Yoda calls the dark side.
Well, a lot of people don't want to change, and that's the problem. They just don't want to speak up or make the difference. For those of you watching, Shahryar Sadree, he's got a book, Down in the Hole, everything we've talked about this evening and more. Shahryar, I want to let people know how they can get a hold of you and how they can see what you have to offer. And so just tell everybody, and you said you had something you wanted to read. I want you to read it, and then, like I said, I'm really stretching it tonight. First show of the year for us, and I want it to be, I feel very, very worthy. So check Shahryar Sadree out, and let me know what you think. But at the same time, I want you to tell everybody what it is that you wanted to read for us.
Well, I have a website which you have up right now. It's shahryarsadree.com. And I have a section on there about a blog section. I write articles from time to time. I haven't gotten to writing one in a while, and I'll probably be changing that with doing more videos and stuff. I really want to focus on this, but I don't need to read that for you. It's a very powerful article, and it's basically called Unstoppable Power. And that explains line by line by line, and you can use that as your baseline. Read some of the other articles. I offer personal development and business development. I work with small businesses, and that's my mission in life, is to help the little guy. I want to bring back what these criminals have taken from us, and I think we can do it is if we can get our heads wired in the right direction and make choices based on results we're looking for, rather than what ego is telling us. You know?
Fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Shahryar Sadree, he's got a book, Down in a Hole. There's how you can contact him. Look him up. I want to thank you for giving me the time to come on this show and just kind of explain this whole book, because it's not a hard read either. Your book is really even for me, because it's very to the point and very simple, easy to read. Back to common sense, I guess. So.
Well, Peter, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on your show. This was an honor and just an excellent opportunity. I think we can probably talk about a million other topics from that can take this to the next level, but you gave me an outlet that this book really needed. I'm not looking for to get rich on this book. That wasn't the reason I wrote it. I had to dumb it down for myself, because sometimes you talk to experts and they talk in gibberish that I don't even understand. Like my friend Exxon Flux. He's got to dumb stuff down for me so I understand. Oh, okay, we don't want to do that. Yeah, okay, this is why, right?
Pepsi, is there anything on your mind you want to say before we let Shahryar go?
Much love, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the good advice. Please, it's a good read, right? Please read. Thank you.
Again,
Thank you.
another Pepsi philosophy: peace, love, and doobie. Yeah.
Carry on,
right, Pepsi?
Good.
Yeah. All right.
Peter G show. The
Peter G show. Yeah, that's right. All right. So that's basically it. Shahryar, I appreciate your time. I'm going to let you go so I can just finish up here and close it out, because we are. I'm still very fortunate. I can do pretty much what I want, but I still have to abide by a few rules, because that's why my throat and my voice still holds up, because of my Nature Way Sambuca throat lozenges with zinc.
Thanks again for having me on. It was a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. Okay, we'll talk to you again in the future. But again, thank you for your time. And I know it's later over there, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who gives me the time of day to be on this little old show. So I'll talk to you soon, and we'll talk to you later, okay?
Much love to both of you.
Thank you. Yeah, Pepsi, there he is, right there. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, it's like a doozy. That's you. Okay, there you go. I'll see you later.
See you later, my friend.
Pepsi.
Sir.
Don't tell me. Oh, what's up with that?
Peter G show.
Do you have a Switch? Well, what did you think of tonight?
Pardon me?
What did you think of tonight?
I loved it. Okay. What did you?
I hope you learned something.
What did you think?
Well, I think considering where we're at and what it is, I'll take it.
Psycho doozy.
Yeah, what did you think of tonight?
Kaboom! Where's the kaboom? There's supposed to be a big kaboom.
There's supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. Yeah. All right, listen, Pepsi, I want to remind you and everybody else that next week, where am I? Sorry. Okay, here we go. Next week, yeah, I know, easier. What are you laughing about?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Hey, please stand by. Yeah. Oh boy.
Okay. All right. So tell them.
But yeah, it's
people,
like,
what are you gonna tell me?
Yeah,
what are you
okay.
gonna tell me?
All right, hang on. Next week, Laura Taranza, narcissistic abuse, behavior, narcissistic relationship. She's going to be on the show finally. She was supposed to be on back in November or December, and I got her on. She's got 2 books, and again, I think narcissistic. I know Pepsi. You don't have to really, you don't really worry about that too much. Here we go.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. I know that you don't really fall too much into that category.
Hot, anyway.
Well, okay, and she's from Houston. She's from Houston.
Go figure. I mean, figure.
Yeah. Maybe you've run into her. You know.
That's my ex guy, and that's my ex future girl, my ex future wife. Sorry.
While you're driving around in your common Gia, you know.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
All right. Look. What else? Yeah, we gotta get out of here. Hey, don't forget that the Peter G Show's on podcast now. It's been on podcast for several months.
Yes,
you can listen to the Peter G Show while you're in the car. You don't have to. I mean, I appreciate all those who watch, but go to iTunes. It's on Spotify. It's on all those. I mean, it's over the past 3 months. It's on a lot of platforms right now. So just type in Peter G Show podcast, and you could find them. So you could listen to them at work when you don't want to really be paying attention to your work, and you'd rather listen to this show. But
you'd rather listen to anything but work.
That's right. Now that we have Pepsi on the show, hey.
Stop it. Hey,
I'm just saying.
It's the Peter G Show.
Yeah. Hey, okay.
Man, look how far you've gone. I mean,
yeah.
Look how far you've been.
I've gone about 50 feet.
Look at you, man. Who loves you?
I mean, just look at us. We can go back and go, hey, do you remember when?
No. Hey, it's the Peter G Show.
All right, listen. I know it's getting close to your bedtime.
Good night.
So wait, whoa! Don't you just take off? I'm just saying. I know it's getting close to your bedtime. Again, next week, Laura Taranza, Narcissism. She's got 2 books, Narcissistic Relationships. And anything else you want to add before we leave, Pepsi?
She looks pretty hot, man. And I would check out
No, boy. That's not what I was asking.
No.
Okay.
Nothing else. That's going to be a hot topic, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Okay.
It's
Okay.
You go work
topic.
It's going to be a hot topic.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. And we're going to work on.
Cut me.
Yeah. Okay.
Say goodnight, Peter. Say goodnight, Peter.
Pepsi. Yeah. Here you go.
Say goodnight,
All
Peter.
right, ladies and gentlemen. You say goodnight, and I'm going to say goodnight. God bless it. Holy moly! It's like anybody seen Pepsi? Okay. Say goodbye to everybody. What are you doing? Uh-oh. Oh, look at that. I guess he just left. We got to work on that. Someday I'm going to have a long talk with that boy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, I love you for sticking around. Welcome to Wednesdays. Every Wednesday right here on the Peter G Show. Like clockwork. We're going to be right here, and it takes some getting used to, but I think it's going to be better for everybody. Wow, we've gone hour 30. That's usually my limit. Man, we just did, but first show of the year, so I'm very happy about that. But again, we'll see you next week. My name is Peter G. I want to thank you for paying attention. Don't forget to share. It's important. It's impotent that you share this show with your friends. And again, the jokes are free. Take that for what it's worth. I love you guys. Always a reminder to be kind. I know it's a tough world out there. You don't have to take a lot of shit from people, but you don't have to be an asshole at the same time. You know, believe me, I try to avoid a lot of situations, but life is a bitch, and people are strange, and sometimes you get into certain, predicaments that you don't want to be in. But just try to take a deep breath, as we talked about tonight, and I always talk about, and handle it, because life is short, and in my opinion, it's getting shorter. But I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that you're here, and I thank you all. I love you guys. So as always, my name is Peter G. See you next Wednesday, like clockwork. More than as always. Love you guys. Peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single